I'm going to talk to you guys today about AI and DePIN. AI's, obviously you guys have been hearing about that all day. It's what the entire week is about here, the AI and the integration of that with blockchain. But before I dig into that, I'm going to tell you a tiny bit about myself, just so you kind of understand where I'm coming from and why I'm coming from and, all of that stuff. My name is Jason Brink. A lot of people in the space know me as Bitbender. I have been in the blockchain space for a very long time now. There's not, show of hands here, how many of you guys have been in blockchain for 5 years? Okay, there's like 3 people. How many of you have been in the blockchain space for 10 years? I don't see anybody. Okay, I've been here for 12 years now. I originally got involved in 2013 or so. 2014, I won an award from the Global Development Network and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for working on a project to use blockchain to fix some of the problems endemic to foreign aid. I don't know if you guys have ever worked, sort of with the aid industry, but it's a remarkably, horrendously corrupt industry. And so I wanted to, take a chance at cleaning that up. I worked on that for a couple years until I realized that governments and NGOs are singularly disinterested in transparency surrounding foreign aid because that's how they make money. And, from there went on to get involved in play and earn gaming. I was the president of blockchain and CMO of Gala Games for about 4 years. Did a lot of cool stuff there, specifically related to DePIN. Gala was the company that really kicked off the DePIN node narrative in a major way, and I was a part of that, there. I left Gala about 1.5 years ago now, almost, and have been working and building Datagram, which is why I'm orange. Our name's up there somewhere. Silver sponsors down there. And DePIN is my thing. Okay. Now, when we talk about AI, there's some really interesting things that come to mind. Now, all of you guys, of course, use AI in your everyday life, I assume. Yeah, everyone does at this point, I think. Bless you. But AI's really interesting because what happens when you have an AI company that gets to be too powerful? Or what happens if you have information that you want to run through an AI that you don't feel like handing over to one of these large companies? And actually, before we get into that, one of the other things that I've always done in this space is I'm sort of the how do I put this nicely? I'm the guy that calls people on their bullshit. And I'm one of the people that is pretty ruthlessly driving scammers as far from the space as possible. And because of that, I have a very, very high standard for how projects need to be built. And AI and DePIN projects are some of the projects that are worst. They're like the worst in this industry to a certain extent, because there's such a huge knowledge gap for a general user between what is a good project and what isn't a good project, and there's lots of ways for people to fake it. On the last panel they were talking about agentic AI and some of the challenges with that and how it doesn't feel strong enough and things like that. And, in a lot of ways, that's because these projects aren't actually building real agentic AI. They're just, putting an API key on top of, OpenAI or something like that. That's AI is very interesting in that regard. So you don't obviously want to give your information to OpenAI. You don't want to give your information to Grok. If you have medical information, you don't want to give it to any of these organizations because it can and will be misused. We learned a long time ago with Web 2 that if you're using a service that is free, okay? Like if you're using Facebook or you're using a messaging application or you're using, Google Docs or anything, whatever it is that you're using, if it's free, you are the product, not the thing that you're using. The thing that you're using is just one way to get you, hello, oh, there we go, so that they can get your data and then they can use that data and monetize it for a variety of purposes. Now, when you look at things like, Facebook, that's fairly innocuous, right? They're just advertising to you, right? Facebook listens to your conversations, which, by the way, if you want to hear something really fun, just if you guys use Facebook, just go have a conversation about something that you've never had a conversation about before, and just watch the ads pop up over the next day. It's wild, but you are the product in that case, right? Now, but with AI, this gets really scary, right? Because, you want to take a picture of something, you have a medical problem, you upload it to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is very helpful, and it gives you all sorts of interesting information. And then that data exists in their servers. It's used to train their models. It's used in all sorts of different ways that you may not want it to be used. It can be used absolutely massively to invade your privacy. Although, to be fair, I don't know if it could be said to be invading your privacy since you're uploading it, but anyway, you get the point. The solution to this is DePIN, Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks, right? Now, the very first DePIN that actually, way back in the day, like 25 years ago, I did some DePIN stuff for science, but the very first DePIN that I was involved in building out was Gala's Founders Node Network. And Gala's Founders Node Network did some pretty interesting things. One of the things that it did is at its peak, it was about 40,000 nodes that were online at any given time, and that those 40,000 nodes powered roughly 85% of all DHT routing across IPFS. Now that's a profoundly cool and powerful thing if you're looking at this from a DePIN perspective. But for me, look at DePIN, I want to see where we can take this in the future, where we can go with AI. And it gets very, very interesting. How many of you guys are familiar with the concept of DePIN for starters? Nobody is. Uh-oh. So basically, what the concept of DePIN is rather than using a single centralized server for things, right? Like AWS or, whatever. You decentralize this and you spread it across many, many different server instances. Okay? And these servers don't necessarily have to be servers in the traditional sense of the word. They can simply be nodes in a network that support computation, support storage, whatnot. In the case of Datagram, my co-founder, Dr. William Nguyen, who is one of the coolest people that I've had the privilege to work with, he's been working in essentially the DePIN space for a very long time, about 30 years now. He did his first work at Lawrence Livermore Labs, doing parallel and distributed computing for computational biology. Continued on with that at Harvard Med, and then as a Sloan Fellow at Harvard as well. And a lot of what we've built is based on his original research that he did. And we've created right now, we have an alpha testnet network that's running. We've created a network that has had over the last 2 months over 750,000 nodes that have come online. And these nodes handle routing, they handle real-time communication via UDP, they handle all sorts of cool stuff. And one of the things that they're also built to handle is AI. Now, whether you're looking at AI from a sort of agentic perspective where you want to have different things deployed that will allow you to have like a digital assistant, for example, or something that does graphical processing, rendering, whatever it happens to be. This can all be done in a decentralized fashion. And the benefit of this is that instead of having a single company owning AI, owning your data, owning whatever it is that you happen to be doing, it is now spread out. It is decentralized across potentially hundreds of thousands of different machines, okay, that are all receiving a little tiny piece of the work, processing that, sending it back. It is much more secure. It is much more private, censorship resistant, so it's not as easy for somebody to just go turn it off. It cannot be controlled by a single company. It cannot be controlled by a single government. And, for me, this is profoundly important because we're in an interesting spot, right, in the sort of evolution of people and technology and the evolution of I want to almost say our synthesis with technology. The more time we spend with AIs, the more these programs and algorithms spend with us, the more they're going to learn, the more they're going to pick up, and the more they're going to get to a point where they can almost take on a life of their own. People talk about the concept of strong AI, right? Which, nobody has woken up yet. But I think that if it gets to the point where there is a strong AI, it has to exist in a decentralized fashion. It has to exist across a massive, massive network. Without that, it doesn't have a future because somebody will be able to just go turn it off. We have a significant amount of emerging use cases when we look at decentralized AI and DePIN brought together. There are specific use cases that are focused extensively or very, very closely on privacy-related things. Med tech, the ability for diagnostics AIs to be able to process medical data without uploading it to a central server, okay? By processing these things on the edge, you save cost significantly. You also develop a more privacy-focused infrastructure that makes it possible for this data to not be leaked or be exploited or sold. And you create new opportunities for other people to build more. One of the other cool things about the concept of DePIN, specifically tied to AI, is the fact that what you essentially create with this is an opportunity for the community, okay, to own that AI, to own that infrastructure and to benefit from it. So the more you see processing happen across these networks, the more a community can benefit. So rather than having a company, like XAI or OpenAI or whatever benefit from your data and your usage, your actual community can, because this is the key to Web3. This is the key to DePIN especially. The deep interconnectivity and focus on community. Without community, you don't have DePIN. Without people to run your infrastructure, you don't have a network. And this is one of the things that I think is most useful and most wonderful about this. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here for you guys in a few minutes so you can run out and grab some food before the next set of panels come in. But I would love to invite you guys to think very strongly about when you look at AI, when you work with AI, how can we decentralize this? How can we remove power from the hands of a very few companies and place it instead in the hands of a larger community? What can be done to facilitate freedom and create censorship resistance across the entire space? And I also encourage you guys to come check out what we're doing at Datagram. This is what a very big part of our focus is. Come join us, check us out at datagram.network. run a node, go to demo.datagram.network and actually try things out. We have actual products live that we've launched before. We even got to any sort of token situation. And yeah, check it out, guys. Now I will cut you all loose so you can go grab some food before the next panel. And thank you guys very much, and thank you to everyone at Taipei Blockchain Week for putting this together. You guys rock. Thank you very much.